All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another day. I don't even know what day on the journey I'm on, but I guess I'm gonna start posting more like value-based content. I mean, well, first of all, if you guys don't know me already, my name is Daniel Diaz, and over the last year, I have sent over 400,000 cold emails and scaled my agency from $0 to 12K a month. All right, the whole journey, the whole progress is posted on my channel for you guys to see. And in this video, I'm literally going to be breaking down the exact messaging framework we've been using within our agency to book 10 calls a month on LinkedIn, okay? And it's bread and butter at this point. It's, people believe in templates. I think templates are complete bullshit, okay? I think templates are the quickest way to get people to say unsubscribe to your outbound, to your outreach. Instead, you want to follow frameworks, okay? You want to follow proven frameworks that are actually printing and actually have amazing results. And that's what I'm going to be teaching in this video. This is a framework that our mentor taught us, Nigel Thomas, shout out to him. And it's called CHARM. All right, and I'm just going to break this down for you guys very quickly. So, capture, humanize, assess, request, and manifest. What does that mean? All right, so capture means you want to capture their attention. That is the first step you have to take. And to capture their attention, most of the time, you just want to ask a question. And I'm going to be showing you examples so you guys can get a better understanding. But you want to ask a question that gets them thinking. And I want to think of these questions like poke the bear questions. That's what we call them, poke the bear. You have to study this question. You have to A/B test it. You have to try it. You just have to, because honestly, we have seen some like offers work, all right, or some questions work that we think sound salesy or robotic, or like we're gonna go in for a pitch, but those questions ended up performing the best. So you just have to try it yourself. And the next part, humanize. You want to let them know that you are a human in some way, shape, or form. Okay, it doesn't matter like if you have the best outreach in the game, but if they do not know you are a human behind the screen, the trust level you have is just gone. So the first thing we want to do is show some humanization through comedy, through humor, through making jokes, through looking at a LinkedIn post and being like, hey, that's great. How did this event go? That's something we really try to prioritize the most, because in this world, 99% of people, not 99, 70% of people doing outreach right now are just using straight AI. And I can see AI emails and cold outreach. It has a little like M dashes and it just sounds AI. You can just feel it. The next one is called assess. All right. By assess, you want to ask them more questions to further understand where they're currently at. So when you continue to nurture, you can tailor it to where they want to be at. And this comes with understanding what they actually want. You have to ask questions. And, the one thing we always try to like think about is being a sales doctor. You want to ask them questions, not in an intrusive way or a salesy way. Like, what's your MRR? Or like, that's fucked. But you want to just ask them questions about where they're currently at. Like, hey, okay, so what are you currently doing for outbound? Are you guys doing LinkedIn, like email? And after you get them engaged enough, that's when you actually want to, and that's a perfect segue for the next step, which is request. Okay, and requesting is basically asking for the call, the big ask. And the way I see a lot of you guys asking is very intrusive. It's very salesy. Like, okay, how about we book a call? But you want to just make it, first of all, non-intrusive, non-salesy. And you want to tie it with value in some way, and that's where manifest comes in. So to actually get them on this call, you want to make the call more appealing to them in some way. So, for example, every time we say, or every time we get the signal that let's shoot for the R for the request, we always try to make sure that they understand they're going to get some sort of value from this. We will say, I have some ideas you might find useful, or I actually have a tailored strategy for you. I would love to go over on this call. Do you wanna hop on a call? I can send over sometimes. There's a lot of ways to manifest it, and sometimes you have to understand, people always ask themselves like, what's in it for me? Why do I have to join this call? I'm not getting anything. You're just going to get on there and pitch me. So you have to understand that they're going to get value. They're going to get a net positive from this call. And there's a really good analogy, and it's basically how you wrap the garlic. So let's say you give a dog a piece of garlic, and this garlic will save them from their sickness. The garlic, for example, you can have the garlic and just give them the garlic and force feed the garlic, but the dog will not eat it. It's gonna scoot its head away or like refuse. But when you wrap it up differently, let's say you wrap it up in like some ham or like some meat, the dog, next time you feed the garlic, it's gonna eat it. So that's what we try to say. Like when we try to ask for these calls, we want to wrap it up differently. In like, you know, ham, for example, or something that a dog likes. You know what? I'm just getting lost with this analogy. Anyways, it's late, but I'm just cooking here. All right, I'm just gonna get into the examples now. Okay, how about that? I think you guys got it. So this is the first example here. All right, so this is a prospect, and this is how our sequence works. So we set up our LinkedIn campaigns in Lemlist, and from our lead list, this is interesting, and this is something not a lot of you guys do when you run cold email, or when you do LinkedIn and like deal with lists in general. So every time we get a new list from, let's say Apollo, or we switched to A leads, it's the same thing. But anyways, let's say we get a batch of 2,000 leads. Oh my goodness, 2,000 leads. Okay, from these like from like these softwares like Apollo and A leads. These leads, they're not all good to contact. So from these 2,000 leads, we always bring them to a software called Million Verifier. Okay, and Million Verifier, every time it basically verifies these emails, it gives you 3 different outputs, and the outputs are considered good. There's risky, and then there's bad. So about like 70% of these emails here are going to be good. About 25, oh man, I'm chopped. About 25 are going to be risky, and about 5% are going to be bad emails. All right, so out of these emails, all right, we always email the goods automatically. With the riskies, there's an interesting caveat. So 50% of the risky emails can actually be sent emails to. That's why within our clay column, within our clay table, we used to actually clean up these lead lists. We have a column in there that qualifies the risky emails. So let's say we have like 500 risky emails. All right. After we verify those riskies, those 500 riskies, we're going to have 250 emails we're going to be able to contact after the second clean process within the riskies. And with the bad ones, we actually bring these to LinkedIn. So we actually juice our list. We don't waste the bads. We don't waste anything. We get all the goods with an email automatically. With the riskies, we get the good ones and we bring them with an email. And the bad ones, we send to LinkedIn outbound. And that's how we get the most money out of our list. As an example, we bought a list that was $60 USD. And from that $60 USD we spent on that list, we were able to generate $30,000 in contract value over a month. So that's how powerful cold email is. You know, you can get a $100 list and turn that $100 list into $50,000 cash collected if you do your emails correctly. But there's a lot of factors that come in, of course. You know, sometimes you don't have campaigns that perform as well, and that is a given with cold emails. But with the ones that do, you can literally turn $100 lists into thousands and thousands of dollars. So, anyways, let's get back into the framework here. So, our sequence on Lemlist, what it does, it views the lead's LinkedIn profile. All right. After it views their profile automatically, this is all automated. It will send an invite, no message. After they accept the invite, it's going to send a message. So this is the capture. Okay. Hey, Philip, I've been trying to connect with more clean tech founders who are genuinely driving impact in the space. I'm curious, are you planning to raise in the near future or more focused on scaling with what you've got right now? Right. Opened. Matt, thank you for reaching out. We are focusing on scaling with what we have right now. Okay. Perfect. So now our main goal is to build that humanization and dig into the assess part. You know, we want to ask more questions and show that we're human in some way. Okay. Hey, Philip, totally get that. Scaling with what you got is usually the smartest move before you get to a raise. You know, just some fluff here. I'm going to skip this, but this is just like the assess part here. This is assess, and this is how we build that humanized part. So we actually I went onto his profile, and I saw that he was invited to this big event. And I literally said, P.S. saw the APEC announcement. That's huge. Congrats to you and the team. Must be an incredible opportunity to showcase what you're building on a global stage. It's also psychology, man. Like, every time you make someone feel good about themselves, all right, they like you more. They want to give back to you more and actually have a relationship. So, but, you know, this is real. 99% of you guys do it in an annoying or spammy way when you give compliments. All right, based off my experience. Anyways, he is opening up to us a bit more. Biggest challenge is market adoption. Okay, so we gave him a few things like what is your biggest problem, you know, on the tech, partnerships, market adoption. And for more context, what our client does here, this is our client's conversation that we manage, that we are actually booking in on his calendar. He basically helps tech companies commercialize and fundraise and scale. So, yeah, biggest challenge. We are extremely proud to be invited to APEC. So now we're building that like relationship. It's not right to a pitch like, yo, let's book a meeting. These conversations take weeks sometimes to take the cold prospect into a call on their calendar, and you know, a couple more weeks to get them to a client. There's, sometimes very long sales cycles within cold email and just with running an agency in general. It's expected. And there's ways to defend it and shorten it if your sales cycle, or if your sales process is obviously dialed enough. So interesting here, shifting market behavior. We're just like repeating what he says, and in our frameworks, this is some more sauce. I'm just giving away sauce, but we use a framework. This is from Alex Hormozi. It's called A, and it's basically acknowledge what they say. All right, you want to associate with what they're saying to your product or the solution that you have, and then you want to ask them another question. Okay, so that's like a rough framework we use. Anyways, proof of concept through actual projects. Okay, so now we're gonna head into the request part, and this is where we actually ask for the call and make it sound more appealing. So it sounds like you're in the right proof of concept stage where traction, boom, boom, whatever. You guys can read that. Whatever, yep. Would love to, but I'm traveling the next 2 weeks. I'll be back on the 9th. No worries at all. I tried to book the call in before we went on the trip, but he didn't do it. Sound good? So he left me on ghost here for a couple of months, for a couple of weeks, 2 weeks or so. And then I hit follow-ups are very important, especially like all the money is made in the follow-ups, which is something you guys neglect. Like, not all of you, but I see a lot of people in the space neglecting follow-ups and focusing just on new leads and waiting for that one prospect to say, yeah, I'm ready to work for you. But you have to nurture, and that's how all of the money is made in business or within cold email and outbound, for example. There's a Harvard study I always talk about. You have to do 7 touch points with a prospect before turning them from a cold, or from turning them into a stranger to a closed client that you work with. 7 touch points. Okay. Right now we are building all of them. We're getting that back and forth. All right. He is seeing our client's LinkedIn page, which is optimized, and we're really building that trust with him. Anyways, P.S. Hope your travels went well. Like all these little things we're bringing back up to build that humanization part. It's very important, guys. He left us on ghost again, so I hit him up with more follow-ups. Consistency is so important. I wouldn't have got this guy on our client's calendar if it weren't for follow-ups all the time. Like one, 2, I believe I did it again sometime. Anyways, we were chatting through some adoption for MTEL Energy last time we chatted, and feel free to take any of these macros, okay? Any of these replies we use. P.S. Forgot to ask, how did APEC go? So look, I am making him talk about himself again, which is what you want people to do. At the beginning of the chat, I brought up congratulations on APEC, and this is like a week out from the event, and now we brought it back up. Like, how did the event go? Anyways, he said APEC was amazing. Progress is moving at light speed. That's great to hear. Sounds like things are moving really well. Blah blah blah. I'd love to learn more about what you're building. I ran a clean tech company myself before I was acquired in 2022, so your conversation, boom boom. And to expand on the manifest part in the charm framework, this is how I made it more appealing. Like, I also got a few ideas you might find useful. There's obviously more to unpack there. Within the assess part, we create that curiosity gap, which is super important. You don't want to give them everything. You want to give them everything to where they're curious enough, where you create that gap and then ask for that call. All right, it's honestly a skill. It's a something you have to master. All right, this is mastery. Anyways, absolutely. Let me know a good time for you, and then I just sent them our calendar. And I like this little follow up we do here. It's basically saying, or if it's easier, you can send me yours and I can find a time. It shows that respect. I'm not big dicking you and sending my calendar. If it's easier, you can send me yours and I'll find a time. As an agency, we still get paid for that, because right now with this client, we're doing $2,000 a month plus $200 per appointment set, and that's a very low price, $2,000 a month. Right now, our price is raised 2x from that. Right now, we're charging about $4K a month, $4 to $5K, depending on the client. This is our OG client, by the way. Come on, he is the GOAT. No. But anyways, done. Booked the call right in. All right. That's one example right there, and I'm going to go over the second example as well. This one's very short, so I won't go through this sequence again, but it's the same one earlier. Okay. Boom. I've been trying to connect more with clean tech founders who are generally driving back into space. I'm curious, how is success with everything? Everything good? Boom. Got him to open up. Thanks for sharing that. Funny timing. Boom, boom, boom. You can go ahead and read that. It's just all fluff. We're just building that assess, showing that we know what we're talking about, building that authority, which is very important. It's imperative that they know you know what you're talking about. You are the guy with the expertise, and that is how we want to come off. That's how we want to position ourselves in this conversation, in a very friendly way. Anyways, have you already started looking at ways to break into Canada? So what we did here was, like, again, acknowledge what he says, associate, and then ask. He left us on open. No worries. Dropping this back on your radar. Happens to me all the time on here. Very casual follow-up. I must have missed your previous message. Thanks for the reminder. People, he appreciated it. Sounds very interesting. We haven't looked at ways to get a foothold in Canada. Where would you suggest we start? What's your role? Anyways, we broke it down a bit more. And here we go. There's obviously a lot more to this. So that's how you create that curiosity gap I always talk about. There's obviously more to unpack there, but I'd love to dive in and learn more about your company to give you a better answer. Okay, want to find a time in early December to chat through this more? Just let me know and I can send a few times over. We'd love to chat. However, this month is extremely busy for us. Blah blah blah. Sounds good. Booked him in. I also sent this a little follow up. You can send me yours and I'll find a spot that lines up. Like I said earlier, he ghosted us. Sent him another follow up, and we got that booked in. So those are two examples of how we are using this one specific framework, this charm framework, to book dozens of calls every single month on LinkedIn Outbound. Okay? And at this point, it's just clockwork. So, guys, hope you got a ton of value out of that. It's like day 330 of becoming a millionaire now. I started last year at $0 a month. I did not know what I was doing. And me and my partner, Matt, we scaled this agency up to $12,000 a month. And by the end, we have goals. End of year, we are going to, or the goal is to be at $20,000 a month. And we just have to onboard one more client. That is the goal. That is what we're doing. We just onboarded a new client today, actually, for $2K USD. So we're cooking, boys. There's money everywhere. It's Friday. I am literally living the life I dreamed of a year ago. And it's crazy to actually say this. And I'm here making this video. But boys, that's what happens when you actually put the work in, when you actually build a real business, when you invest in resources to make you the 1%. And I want to be the person to aspire you guys as well. I want you guys to see me and be like, I can easily do that as well. I know there's a lot of you guys that are honestly doing better than me out there. And I will get to that point one day. This grind has been so real, and I've fallen in love with it completely. This is all I do. I wake up, I read my Bible, I take a cold shower, I drink my black coffee, and I just work all day. And I go to the gym, and I am striving for mastery. I feel zen in what I do, and that's how I'm going to become a millionaire. Okay? Because I love what I do, and right now every day feels like a vacation. I literally love what I do. So on this trajectory, I'm going to be there in no time. Next year, we're going to be hitting, I believe, our first 6-figure month with this agency. We have a lot of opportunities lined up, the right people by us. We're in the right communities. We're building a name for ourselves, which is fantastic. Anyways, that's enough fluff. Let's get it. Hope you guys have a great weekend. Subscribe, like, comment, all of that. Follow my IG and just freaking reach out. Ask any questions. I'm down to connect with any one of you guys anytime. Anyways, let's get it. God bless and peace.